Hey, welcome to the Tolleson-Mack podcast, Prescott Frontier Days edition. We got my man Judd Mortensen on here. I had to flag him down. This guy, if you don't know him, has, in his own right, a heck of a career. His brothers had a heck of a career. But now this guy is raising three of the rankest kids there is. I don't know. How old's Juke?
Juke's 8 years old.
From 8 years old, how old's JC?
JC's 22.
So from 8 to 22, any kid that's coming up that's thinking they're wanting to be a bull rider, they might want to wait a little bit because these dudes are going to take the bag. I promise
Brandon, we need more guys, so come on, join us.
Come on in and enter. So Judd, why don't you walk us down a little bit of, like I said, your brother, let's start with your career. What have you kind of done?
Well, I tell you what, man, I was born and raised on a potato ranch in Idaho. Not a ranch, farm, right? And it was way out in the middle of nowhere, so the fun things that we did was tortured the neighbors' cattle, and then when get into high school and realize they pay some money and you become addicted because it's so fun. You don't do it for the money, it's because it was fun, right? And I was fortunate to ride with my brother all over the world for a decade and some, and that was a pretty neat deal to be able to travel the world with my brother Brock, and we went to some finals and had fun, and then my children, like you said, I married J.C. Trujillo's daughter, and we bred some children there, and I tell you what, J.C. Cesar knows since J.C. was born, he's born with a rope in his hand, whether it would be a rope to rope, a rope to ride, or whatever, man. And, up through the ranks, JC is 22. I think he's sitting, 15th or 12th or something in the world.
I think last weekend I seen he was sitting like 15th, so he's probably 12th by now.
Yeah, and he's had a good career, so far they're young. Jackson's 19. But you know what's cool about both them boys, Brandon? I don't know if people even realize this. When JC, about 3 weeks after JC turned 18, he was entered in his first PBR event, and he won it. It was in Jackson, Tennessee, an event I produced. Me and Cody Nance did that. And then a couple years later, 3 weeks after Jackson's 18th birthday, he bounces to his first PBR, and he wins it, right? So that's pretty cool, right?
No, that's
really
cool.
Cool.
That's way cool. And I mean, we always on here talk about the horse breeding. Cesar talks about the stud and the mare and the bloodlines. But if you want to talk about bloodlines to make you some bull riders, the Mortensen boys, they got the bloodline. And I'll tell you, I really respect JC a lot. And I really like Jackson a lot, respect him a lot. Jukie's a little dude, I ain't been around him much. But them other two boys, I've been around them a bunch. They've got on my bulls, and the most respectful dudes. And come up, shake your hand, answer your phone when you call them. I mean, they're just good guys. And that comes from raising them right. You did a good job with them boys, man.
I appreciate it. It don't come without a few scars on both ends, man.
I bet. And I'll tell you, too, Cesar, I don't know if you know this, but that freaking JC's a hand.
Yeah.
I mean, pick up broncs, rope. I mean, that dude, there's an all-around title in his future.
Their grandpa JC's pretty cowboy, you know what I mean? So they were gonna if they wanted to ride bulls, they can ride bulls, but they're gonna know how to get on the saddle horse and rope, and we're gonna get around these cows, and we're gonna do some cowboying today, And I think that's what makes them boys so good, right?
Yeah, you know what they are. They're complete. JC is epitome of a cowboy, Cesar, you got to come out to the ranch in Colorado when he was 5 years old. Yeah. And remember, after you got done torturing him, roping him, we run him in, and he rode every one of them.
He spurred him, man. He was just having fun out there, and that's what it's all about. Like you talked about earlier, like he was just enjoying it, whether, he's got a rope in his hand, we're going to go play inside leg, we're having fun, and we're going to go get on something, go get on some steers or something. At that age, you could see that he was going to have fun with this and be good at it.
Well, the bottom line is the number one rule in life is don't be a dick, right? And so
numero uno.
That's the number one rule. And so, Brandon, that really is what makes me more proud of those boys more than any of the prizes that they win, riding or roping or something like that, is how many people come up to me and they say, man, I met your boy the other day, man, and they said, I didn't know kids could be like that anymore, And
that's awesome.
And they're good to people, And Ty Murray told me, I was with him one time several years ago, and a fan came up. And I don't remember what they were saying exactly. Said cowboy. Ty said, to be a cowboy, a true cowboy, does not mean what kind of hat you got on, what kind of boots you're wearing. It matters what's in your heart and how you are and what you are to people and the person you are. And that's the ultimate truth coming from the king of the rodeo cowboys.
The king of the cowboys, man.
Yeah, and man, they do, and like I said, I mean, those kids got every right to be some little just cocky little walking around with their chest out, but they're the coolest dudes, man. I'm telling you, I can't say it enough how much I like them guys.
Well, Brandon, you've been with since the beginning, you know, when you're dirty, when you had your bucking bulls and stuff like that. He I don't know whether you realize talent or both or a good guy or whatever, but he jumped on Team J.C. Mortensen when J.C. Mortensen was 10 years old, 12 years old, you know, and J.C.'s always been really proud of that and rode with you.
Yeah, and when I seen that kid, and I think what I seen in him is the old school mentality, and you know, from these guys and from his grandpa, it's that old school mentality. You know, having them bulls, you'd call guys, man, we got some good ones, we want to buck them out, you know, come see what they do, and man, you couldn't. I'll give you $100.
I heard JB Mooney said that too. He's like, man, you can't get. Back when I was a kid, I'd be over there riding them out, and especially if they offered to pay you. Shit, I'd be out there getting on all of them. He said.
I will tell you though, right now, you get a hold of these Mortensen boys, and you better be serious about bringing the bulls, because they're on their way. Free bulls? I'm on my way.
I got to tell you a funny story about it. You bring JB up, right? So just earlier this year, right? Jackson's over there. He was on Team Nashville Stampede and that, and so he's hanging out there in Texas, and he wanted to go get on some bulls. So somebody said, hey, JB's buck bulls over his house. You know, Jackson knows JP. I got to tell another story before I go into this. So we're in Calgary one time. Jackson's 5 years old, right, and behind the chutes and that. And JB's got a cigarette in his mouth, chewing his
dude's a cowboy.
A beer out over here and a whiskey drink over here. And Jackson walks up to him and says, hey, JB. Throw that cigarette away and spit that chew out of your mouth, man. That's no way to be a whatever. And JB says, shut the hell up, kid. I ain't no role mom, I'm a bull rider. So therefore, Jackson's a little bit different than JC because of JB.
Yeah, maybe.
No, but anyway, so Jackson runs over to JB's house the other day, and JB, I got to see him at the Dirty 30, the PBR's 30-year anniversary and the Legends deal, and I'd heard it from Jackson already, but he come from the champ's mouth. He looks at me, he starts smiling. He said, man, that little son of a bitch come over the other day, Judd. I said, yeah, I hear it, huh? And he said, what happened is Jackson gets out of the car and Stetson Wright comes up to him and says, hey, man, Jackson, man, JB got a couple of these bulls over here, man. I won't get on those ones because nobody else will, man. But, you know, and Jackson, where are they, man?
Yeah.
So he, just like what Brandon was saying, so he rolls over there and JB got this red, I mean a monster, you know, just a red monster, you know. And hooking me some buck and JB Jackson get him. So JB tells him, he not too bad, Jackson. He won't hook a little bit, but he's mean, not too mean. But JB raised the meanest Mexican fight bulls for the UBT. Yeah. So I mean it's all relative, right? Right. So Jackson rides his red bull, right? And he sticks this bull, right? And he gets off him all right. Jackson gets away, and JB says he didn't even realize that bull was killing the bullfighter right behind him. he was kind of mean, Judd. But he bounced in there and he got on the two bulls that nobody'd get on over there. You know, and JB's are two mean-ass bulls, and you know JB was pissed off. And the funny story about that is also a year before that, JC did the same deal JB had a bull team deal, right? Really offered to pay guys to get on bulls, and so JB obviously put all the money in. And all these other guys unload their bulls first, and nobody's going to get on JB's bulls because they're real bulls. Yeah. And JB was pissed off, and JC could tell, what's up, JB? All these, blah, blah, blah. Which one do you want me to get on, JB? Yeah.
That's how they work.
And that's how he gets the respect, right?
Yeah.
So that's how JB, I guarantee, respects both them boys.
Oh, yeah.
So much,
right.
You know what, guys? And Cesar, you got these kids coming up, and it don't matter you're roping, riding, or whatnot. It's about... you know what? Get out there. If you're gonna do it, anything worth doing, worth overdoing, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Go get it, right?
Yeah.
And own it.
Work hard. Work your ass off.
Own it. You worked hard enough, or you didn't work hard enough, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I rode him, or I didn't ride him. Don't bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
Practice pit.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean that's how those guys looked at it, and I mean I'm sure, like I said, it comes from you, but I mean that's how they looked at it. Like I'll get on them. Like, I don't care. I mean, we'd go around, like when we had our bull company, that's what we did. We just bought the A-team. You know, I've said this before on here. If somebody had a good one, they'd shoot us a video, And if he was good enough, we'd go buy him. And I mean, you knew you could call them Mortensen boys. And like I said, you better not be bullshitting that you're going to have them there, because they're going to be standing there with their bags ready to go.
So let's talk about that. So you would see one that you liked, and
or like these guys would call and say, hey, man, this guy's got a real good
But if
bull.
you've seen one and you didn't know, you'd have to call and find out some guys that jump and get on them, and just to see for your own eyes?
Well, we'd go and get him,
Uh-huh.
right? And a bull buck's different usually at different places. You know, a small arena, big arena, they're going to buck different. So we'd watch the videos and we'd do this stuff. But then when we get them here, we call the Mortensen boys. They'd come get on because 2 reasons. Them guys ride bulls good enough that they're in control.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not just hanging on.
Yeah.
You know, they're in control of the ride. So if I tell them, hey, take him about 6, don't take him 8, don't spur him,
Yeah.
you know, and yes sir, no problem, yes sir.
Yeah.
And they were in control enough that they could do that. So it's kind of like what you guys tell me about breaking in steers. If you don't got the right guys breaking in
Yeah,
your
I
steers,
can
you
see.
ruin truckloads of steers,
Ruin 'em.
right? And it's the
One
same.
day. It takes one day to ruin 'em.
and it's the same thing with bulls, right? They have to have their confidence up.
Yeah.
You know, you got to keep their UFC fighter, right? So,
You had to have some on retainer just to have money back to call them up.
Right.
For sure, you know. And you know what, guys? It's all about knowing cattle, like this, right? And you know, if you're just gonna jump off the streets and go be a bull rider, go get in the pen to sort some cattle and really watch cattle.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll help you ride bulls and
Read
help
'em.
you
Yeah.
everything, you know. And people, these kids of today, that's why our kids are lucky.
How did you start the boys? You know, because I know bull riding is tough, and it's like they need confidence too. But how did you get them boys started off? You know, like it's bull riding is extreme. You know what I mean? You don't want to be just a kid learning how to ride and you go get on a big 1,800-pound bull for your first one. You know, you kind of want to ease into it. Or how do you start a bull rider to be to get them to the highest level like you did with your 2 boys?
That's a good question, because there's a lot to that, and it is what it is. That is what it is. Okay, so how that happens is this. First of all, I did not want any of my kids to ride bulls. Let's put that out there. I did not. No,
It's extreme,
I
man.
believe it.
I buried some friends. I got some that are not doing well, and that's the last damn thing I want them to do. And I'm not kidding you.
Right.
And everybody looks at this, oh man, you did. No, guys, I rode these bulls a lot, man, and that's not what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
And so the first time that each of my kids individually, and it's even happened to Juke already, when they get jumped on, I'm not called just get hit and bumped. When you get jumped on and you think you're gonna die, I walk away, doctor, make sure that kid's gonna live, he's mine, right? And walk back over to him and say, hey,
Hey, let's hold on a second. And
Let's
they're
take
going
a
to play
break
the
for a
national
second.
anthem. Take a sponsor, Rat Bastard Energy Drink. Cesar, talk to us a little bit about them.
You know, it's been about a couple months now. I've got along with these guys really good, and the late night drives and, you know, the early mornings sometimes get a guy when he's roping and riding horse and stuff. And I found this Rat Bastard is some of the best energy you can get. It's got, you know, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's really good for you. Check it out.
Hey, welcome back to Tolleson-Mack Podcast. Got my buddy Judd Mortensen on here, still at Prescott, still doing the thing. Rodeo starting behind us. That's the noise you'll be hearing. And the lady with the crazy bell over here. Yeah, we tried to buy the bell. We tried to do everything. She won't
Ain't
come off the
having it.
bell.
she's a little different, that one.
Yeah. So, hey, before we went to break, we were talking about, you know, raising these champs and things like that. And you kind of started, and they started the national anthem, so we paid, you know, respect. But
How do you, I mean, for a young bull rider wanting to get into it, you've raised some champions right now. How do you get them started?
Okay, so where I was at was I said, you know, it's individually as one, you know. Everything's individual, right? And again, I told you I didn't want them to do that. So the first time they get jumped on, then I go up to them, they're laying there, and they say, hey, son, are you sure you want to ride these bulls, you know? And right there I'm thinking, yes. And he said, yeah, Dad. Yeah. I mean, as it hurts there, right? And you think you might not breathe ever again. Right at that complete moment, you have to say, all right, how can I keep this boy that I love so much safe? The best way to keep him safe is to be damn good at it. And you're still going to get hit, you know? And so it don't matter what kind of equipment they make or whatnot. The best way I thought to keep these boys safe was to where they could jump off and land on their boots, you know? And so Cesar, that, they, you know, sheep, obviously, J.C. Mortensen, I mean, the minute he could talk, I think his 3rd birthday was here. at the rodeo grounds because J.C. Trujillo ran this and we all were at their deal, right? And he wanted to have, and Brandon, I think you might have even brought some bulls later on in life to his birthday party.
Yep.
So he brings sheep, so I go get the sheep, right? And his birthday party is sheep riding and make all of his friends ride and sheep. Right? and then it graduates into steers and whatnot. So with that being said, I never wanted to get him overmatched, and we do wrestling. I coach wrestling. These boys are state champion wrestlers. And it's a different mentality a little bit because in wrestling, you might need to get beat a little bit sometimes. But in the college coach here, Emery Casey Rock, I coach his son, and he said, man, they can't win all. You don't want to win all the time. And I got to thinking about that. I said, well, shit, you ain't going to keep going if you don't win in bull riding because it's going to hurt. Yeah. So I try to elevate their game as it goes, right? Sheep to steers, and I know this miniature bulls is a big, neat deal and stuff. And I like steers better and Holstein cows. They jump and leap, and your deal, Holstein cows. And then just make sure you don't overmatch them too much, as they go. And always shadow ride on the barrel, watch bull riding, get your gear out, look at your gear, dream of it, get into the big bulls, don't get overmatched, continue to grow, don't get too big of a hurry. And the mental aspect of it and is, again, I key on safety all the time. Like JC, for instance, they want to graduate early. JC wants to graduate early, man. He's always want to get on the Rankus Bulls. And, that Reaganator, remember that Reaganator went to the PBR final several times, there were 90 points on him and stuff. And JC's like, he was 15 years old and he's at our house, and he's a good bull, he got good tracks, but 90 points on him at the PBR. You're 15 years old, kid. I said, all right, whatever, get on him. And he's riding the hell out of him in about 6.5 seconds. You remember that? Flips him over his head at my house and double stands on his belly button. Double stands on my 15-year-old kid's belly button, And he crawls out of there and stuff. And you know why? Because JC went to spurting on him. He went to kicking on him. Yeah. You remember that?
Yep.
He went to kicking on him. And I said, all right, son, that bull. He said, no, Dad, I know what I do. We'll get on him in 2 weeks. And he rides him. Remember that? He rides him. He's 15 years old, and he rides him, And so, again, graduating on into it. And Cesar, the way to do it is to again, be with a professional that knows the game, and don't escalate them too fast, and your mindset has to start from when you hit the ground, when you're born, and it's just you can't teach or you can't provide love or passion for the game, right? And in our sport, if you don't have to ride bulls to be our friend, guys. Right. I mean it, and that's what people don't get, right? They think they got, just to hang out with you, they think that they got to do that, and they know that they want to, and deep down they know that they can't. So I'm all about building bull riders and stuff like that, but guys, it's a super dangerous sport, man. And I see some of my kids' friends, they want to do it, and they keep trying to do it and stuff like that. It's like, man, dude, don't.
Yeah, and I try to say,
don't do it.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
But JC's different, dude. JC's like Dr. Evil over there. Oh, he's gonna get on this bull.
But in all fairness, like JC, there's kids that come along that are just gifted,
Wired like that.
He's there was one Secretariat, there was one Seabiscuit, there was there's certain things that come along, and I got to put JC in that, because like I said, he's a hand, man. Like he's not just the bull rider sitting 12th, 15th in the world, whatever he is a hand.
That's awesome.
He's had an eye on him his whole career. Make sure he's not doing anything wrong and kind of staying right in his game. I think that's a real big, for somebody that doesn't have that in their family, like I had Uncle George, my grandfather roped real good, so they kept me, doing the right things. You and JC, they always kept kept these boys, you know, in line and doing the right things and being good boys and all that stuff. They've always had a good eye on them. So if there's a kid coming up that's wanting to be a bull rider or a team roper, you said it a little while ago. Try to get around a professional or somebody that's done good at this game, and that way they can keep you safe. Because even team roping, it's fun and all, but there's element of danger in that game too.
Well, I guarantee you, and the thing to me, Cesar was just talking about stuff. If you want to get your kid into bull riding or roping or in this rodeo world, man, go to the Tolleson-Mack and come and find us, man. Because I promise you, Cesar and I love it for kids, and I didn't want that to come off the wrong way either. I guarantee you, I have more kids than JC and Jackson and Juke. I have a lot of kids at my men. They're men. I'm gonna call them men. If they can live and be what grows you up to be what we're talking about, you're a man. It don't matter how old you are, you know. And I take super pride in these kids that come over to the house, you know, and they'll call and they say, come over. And the boys are a little bit older now, so it's a little bit of a more I'm serious kind of game, right? Mm-hmm. And this is how I put it. Guys, I wish I could trademark this one right here, okay? So these kids have a hard time, even men, to have attention time enough to listen in detail what it takes to be this, right? And they get bored and they walk away and they ain't listening, right? And so finally, you can come to my house and we can train you. But if you ain't going to get the Paul Harvey, get the hell out of the driveway. The rest of the story. You'll never get the Paul Harvey.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I was saying about his boys. And like even when they were at the level and they'd come to the bull ridings we were putting on and stuff, they'd listen to you. If you'd say something, or they'd come back on the back
listen to you. No, but they listen to you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about raising kids. You got to teach them on, because there's a lot of bullshitters out here, guys. Yeah. And again, I want to thank both of you guys, because both of you guys have been a big staple in JC and Jackson's life. I mean, we watch Cesar, dude. I'm telling you one thing. Thank God Cesar didn't win more world championships, because we would have a freaking roper instead of no. But no, really, guys, that's it, man. Thank you, because they look up to you guys not just because of your talents and what you do, but they see, they watch, they know who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah, and they'd come back there behind the buck and shoots, and I remember one time JC asking me, he says, hey, you got a different angle on this. He says, what'd I do wrong? And I said, man, I don't think you're doing nothing wrong. He goes, well, yeah, he says, but I just didn't ride him like I usually do. And I said, I don't think you're going to ride all of them like you usually do. And I mean, I felt like when I said that to him, it sunk in.
No, I guarantee
you know what I mean?
No, at that time, no.
Like, I mean, I think he won first or second in the bull riding, but he wasn't satisfied with himself.
He knew what he was supposed to be.
Yeah. And he listened when I said that, you know?
No, and I tell you what, like Donnie Nargain, you guys know Donnie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Out there. Donnie's everybody's such a mean-looking guy, you know. Oh, Donnie's all mad, looks like somebody pissed in his Cheerios every single day and stuff. But, you know, he loved JC since he's born, you know, and, you know, Donnie was the president.
They're all wrestlers, all those Nargain boys.
We're all wrestlers, man. Everybody got cauliflower ear around here. But Donnie's always on to him, and JC gets on this bull, somewhere the other day. I can't remember where he was, and we knew he was going to be a hard one to ride, and they kind of contradicted JC's riding style, which not very many bulls do. And he gets off that bull, and he texts me like right after he gets off of him, and he said, doggone it, Dad, Donnie Nargain was right about that. Sometimes letting your knees come up or whatever. He said, but that is going to the respect of the people that you listen to, and I'm getting chills as I talk about that.
You can always learn something, right?
Oh, man.
The damnedest thing from anybody, you know, especially if they understand a little bit of the game.
And they listen.
Help you out.
You know what I mean? A lot of these guys, you know, we had Hollywood on here, and we were talking about the barred bull ridings and stuff. Some of them guys get a little ahead of themselves because they ride a couple of them barred bulls. You know what I mean? I'm sure that you see that.
Those
happen.
are the guys that I want you to send over to my house.
Dr. Evil.
No, you know, that's one thing I'm going to say right now, because you hit on it, and we've brought bulls to bar bull rides, and you've put some on, and they're for a reason, right? And one of the things that you know, Jackson said something to me, boys, and he said it more than once, and it really is really neat. He said, Dad, I couldn't imagine, he said, you rode good, Dad, but I couldn't imagine how good you'd be if you'd have had a you. because I didn't.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But he didn't mean it just me. He meant who comes with me.
Yeah, somebody keeping an eye on you.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Isn't
That's
that,
really
isn't
cool.
that
That's
humble as
Smart
hell?
for he can spot that out.
And
right
Jackson's
at a
always
young
doing
age,
some
man.
cool shit too. Like he was wakeboarding the other day in Texas, and he's always doing some cool shit. Yeah, he'll send me pictures and stuff. They're places.
Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
Yeah, well, it's like that calf roper we had on here earlier. You know, I make the mistake of asking him what he's thinking about.
Kincaid Henry.
Kincaid Henry. We make a mistake asking what he's going to do after rodeo, and I mean, he looked just blank
It
faced.
ain't over. Hang it in.
He's
He's
I don't
20 years
know.
old.
He's, shit, I don't know.
Well, with that
I'm just
being,
going to keep roping.
well, that being said, though, in bull riding, you guys can rope on it, right? I like to think I help L.J. Dinkins' career a lot, right? Because I got to travel with him when he was young and I was at the end of mine. And I told him one day, I said, you know what, L.J., I said, one thing you need to realize in this sport, it's a short window. I said, I never bought a pitcher. I never did this because I thought it was never going to end. I said, you go get it. And I think that's one thing that my boys have understood real good. And, you know, and Juki too. It's fun, you know. And this is the thing I always say, you know, everybody say, hey, man, your boys are doing so good. I don't like to hear that shit. I said, remain ready.
At all times.
Oh.
At all times. All right, man. Well, thanks, Judd. We're going to let you slip out of here, get some cups refilled, and I sure appreciate you coming by.
Hey, buddy, Brandon,
Thank you,
I appreciate it.
Judd. Appreciate
Caesar's been great. Brandon.
Yeah, nice meeting
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Again, last thing, man, you guys want to rope? We want to ride some bulls?
Yeah.
Get a hold of Tolleson-Mack because me and Cesar here to bring some cowboys up. We need it. Thanks,
Love
guys.
talking.
Love it.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.